Hey, I'm Dylan Paris. Forgive the set today. I'm in the middle of moving between apartments and everything's kind of taken down, so there's also probably a bit of an echo today. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and talk about something before I move. This video, if you've seen the thumb, the title, you know what it's about. I got an iPad mini about a month ago, I want to say, maybe a little bit over a month ago, and I sold my 11-inch iPad Pro 2018 model. I used some of the money from selling the iPad 11-inch to fund a MacBook Pro, which has been really cool. I'm going to make more content with that. But I found myself missing that Pro workflow, and honestly feeling like I'd made a mistake because so much of the content on my channel is about iPad music and iPad production. And the Mini, while it is a really cool device, having it be my only iPad for over a month, I've really started to notice the weaknesses. The first one is screen size. As much as it's a pro, it's also a con. Doing 30-minute, hour-long sessions on that tiny screen just really tires my eyes out in a way that was not true of the Pro. Along with that, I feel like I noticed the smaller amount of RAM and the slower processor. I probably wouldn't have if I hadn't gone from the best iPad at the time to a slower one, but it is a noticeable power differential. But really, it's the scale of everything. The iPad mini, it shrinks down the same aspect ratio of the iPad Air. It's got a laminated screen, there's a lot going for it, but every app is designed hypothetically for a bigger screen and then just minimized, like shrunk down. So you're not losing any screen elements, but everything is smaller. I had a comment from Webb, who runs the website Discchord, which is a really cool iOS-focused music website, which I've been honored to be featured on from time to time, which has been really cool. Shout out to Tim. But Tim mentioned that he watched my video and seeing that I went from iPad Pro to iPad mini and my pros and cons, he decided he was going to keep his Pro because of the dial size and the knob control and just interacting with screen elements. And at the time I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I thought I was mostly just gonna use hardware controllers, but I've started to really just love using the iPad by itself, just using the screen controls. I think there's a lot of power in that once you get used to it. And when you look at other hardware boxes like the Discchord or the OPZ or even the OP1, all of these hardware machines don't have velocity sensitivity, which is actually something you can simulate using different iOS apps, but let's say you couldn't and you didn't have velocity sensitivity, it's still on the same level as other dedicated music making devices. The other part of this is that I experimented a lot over the last season or two of this year with different hardware boxes. I had a Discchord, I had a Digitone, I had an MPC Live, I had an SP404. I was basically swapping gear out all the time, selling and returning stuff. It was a pretty bad version of gear acquisition syndrome, but sometimes it's hard for me to control that. And through the process of playing with that gear, I just kept coming back to everything had a limitation. I would hit a wall with the sounds I could make with a Digitone, or I would realize like the Digitact only sampled in mono, and like you couldn't do polyphony per track, and just basic things that I was so used to doing with an iPad you couldn't do with these hardware boxes. So I ended up going straight to the MacBook Pro, which I really love. All of my songs end up being finished in Ableton, and I'm gonna make a video about this. I'm in the process of finishing an album called There's Something Better, and I'm really excited about it, and I'll tell you more about it soon. But a couple of the songs on the album started in GarageBand on iPad or in Chord Gadget and go all the way to Ableton, all the way to a final mastered product that my colleague Jake Stein is helping me co-produce. And I just realized I love that pipeline. I love having that connection where I can start with a device as portable and versatile as the iPad and get it all the way to the MacBook and get it all the way finalized and mastered and mixed. And with where iPads are at now, you don't even need to take it to the Mac. I mean, FabFilter, you've got a great set of mastering and mixing plugins. There's multiple high-end DAWs at this point on the iPad, and it just felt like by going back to the Mini, I had kind of turned my back on all of the great things the iPad can really do. And so, as per usual, I ended up going down a YouTube rabbit hole. Shout out to all of the YouTubers I've been watching over the last few days. I Am Legend with an X instead of a E for the first E in Legend, Yak of Hack, classic, Elbow Media Studios, Henny the Business, obviously, Thomas Piper, Noah Herman, Ali Abdal, and Canoopsy. Watching all of these YouTubers talk about how they use iPads and the difference between the 12.9 and the 11-inch Pro made me realize that, you know, I should go in the totally opposite direction of the Mini. I should embrace all of the power of the newest iPads and embrace all of the screen real estate that I could possibly get on an iPad for that kind of interaction that Tim Webb was talking about. And so I've ordered a 12.9 inch, 256 gig iPad Pro 2020. My credit card weeps per usual, but I am so excited to get my hands on this beast and really dive into iPad music production again in a way that I feel like I have not, because I've had the mini. And so if you're thinking about ditching a Pro to get a mini, I gotta say don't. If you're starting out and you have no other options, I would recommend the iPad Air, I believe it's 10.5 inches, or just the iPad as your starting device, because you're gonna get more screen real estate to just take advantage of these apps. The mini is an awesome content consumption device and social media device. It's so portable and it's so cool to have that much power in a small device, but for my eyes as an old man at the age of 27, I have a reading prescription and a distance, I won't get into that, but I just realized I missed the power of the Pro. And so yes, I made a mistake. And I love trying things. I'm gonna keep trying things. That's kind of what my channel is about, making stuff and then how I switch up what I do. But yeah, I'm getting the iPad Pro, 12.9 inch, 2020 model, 6 gigs of RAM. I'm excited for that. I'm gonna get more into art and animation with it as well. I'm not sure I'm gonna put it on the channel. People are mostly for music and I mostly like making the music videos, but I might incorporate some more animation the way I used to in some of my very early videos on this channel. And I also want to just shout out Sion. Sion's got a YouTube channel, I'll link below. You know, I've talked about on the channel before, I really appreciate when y'all reach out to me, talk to me, tell me what you're doing. Sion really, took me up on that. Reached out via my Instagram and talked to me about what he's doing and, kind of reminded me how awesome and special the iPad music community is. So shout out to Sion. I'm not saying it's just you that got me to want to get an iPad Pro again, but talking to you really reminded me how much I really appreciate the iPad community. And I definitely want to dive even deeper into the community, be a better resource, make more tutorials, make more videos about the iPad as a music device. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about the iPad Pro. I'm excited to see what I can make with it. I'm excited to show you some of the journeys of the songs on my album. Starting in Chord Gadget, starting in GarageBand, and the major pain it was to get a song out of GarageBand on iPad into Ableton. I can't recommend that, but getting a song out of Chord Gadget into Ableton is very good. Yeah, I'm gonna dive into that. I'm gonna tell you more about all this stuff as I have it, but yes, I made a mistake, at least in my opinion. iPad Pro is better than iPad Mini for my workflow. Is it worth the amount of money? That is a completely personal question. And it's really dependent on the money you have available, the kind of debt you're comfortable taking on, and your ability to pay off that debt or your ability to pay out of pocket. That being said, you do not need a Pro to make iPad music. There are a lot of people working with iPad Airs, older iPads. Even a Mini can do it. It's just about the screen size for me, but the Mini's capable. This is a great time to jump into iPad music production. We might even see Logic this year, which would be amazing. And I'm really excited to see that. If Logic Pro comes to the iPad Pro, there's a good chance I might do a 50-50 Logic Ableton split in my workflow, because if I could have a one-to-one sync between the iPad and my MacBook for music software, that'd be amazing. I would also love to see more traditional desktop VST manufacturers come to the iPad. So if Native Instruments, for example, did more than just iMachine and started making like their complete bundle available, or versions of those instruments like Massive and Absinthe and Battery available on iPad, that would just be so good. And obviously the holy grail for me is if Ableton ever comes to the iPad, that'll just change everything. But yes, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Y'all are such a really cool group of folks, and I really appreciate that you take the time to enjoy my content. Consider liking and subscribing if you want to, but you know how YouTube works. I'll catch you next time. Peace.